So, legitimately, I feel the exact same way about Todd Gurley as I did when it was first announced. Yeah. Is he cool with the smaller share? Because that's what he's going to get, and he probably should get. Is he cool with a smaller contract? Because the contracts that he's used to in the NFL, he's not going to get here.
That's true.
I guess.
Now,
who would I rather have as a quote unquote third running back? You know, a guy like Todd Gurley, or a guy that was an undrafted free agent or a 7th round pick or something. Well, yeah, I'd have Todd Gurley if the price is right. I'm sorry, I don't.
That's the only way he comes here.
I don't think that
if
Todd
he has
Gurley
a deal
is
similar
like,
to Adrian Peterson.
He isn't Todd Gurley of 2 years ago. I mean, it's just, I'm not lying to you. I'm not being mean. He's still got a place in the NFL.
I'm going to tell you this, Sean. If he comes here, he's going to have the same chip on his shoulder that a lot of players and a lot of coaches have on their shoulder here. I mean, Jared Goff has a huge chip on his shoulder. I mean, he was tossed away. Signed a big deal, and you know what? We don't want you here anymore. Todd Gurley signed a big deal. We don't want you here anymore. You're falling off. And so he has that chip on his shoulder. He can come here, and they're playing right now. They're playing for pride. They're playing to show that they still have a lot left in the tank. I like Todd Gurley. I think he can come into a good situation. You put a running back like that and back of the offensive line like what we have and what they're going to be in the future, I think he'll have a lot of success here. But how much success will he have when you have Williams in the backfield, you have DeAndre Swift in the backfield? How many touches are you going to get a game? And then at the same time, the politics plays a big part. When it comes to it, no, because if he's playing well, right? If he goes out here and he gets 3 or 4 carries, I could see him having a similar role to me. My first year in 2012, my first full season.
Arthur.
I guess you could call him a veteran. He's been in the league for a couple of years. How does that adapt well to the changes that are being made with the Lions? Would he fit in there well?
That's what I'm saying. So if he came here, I think it'll be a similar situation to how my rookie year was here, to where the very first game of the season I got 1 carry, the second game I got 5, the next game I got a little bit more, and they started giving me more opportunities. And the more that I had success with those few opportunities, the more opportunities I got in the future. And so for him, it's going to be based off what do you do with the opportunities you get when we put you into the game.
So our rushing game would be insane with him, right? Or would it be a slow build like what you're saying? Like with the people that we have on already, adding him, how much of a difference does that make?
I'm gonna tell you the difference maker between now versus in the past. In the past, they can put 7 guys in the box. Now they're going to be stacking the box because they know that's our strength. So they're going to attack our strength, and that's going to be the downfall, just having an extra guy in the box.
Lions Rumble says that we need Swift to dominate. We drafted Swift, not Gurley. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
He's going to play.
I tend to agree with him to this point. We went out and signed a pretty damn good running back from the Green Bay Packers, and we know what we have in DeAndre Swift, and we want to see more. And I think of it as a pie, okay? This would be the best analogy that I could come up with. Think of it as a pie, and a lot of running backs are used as like, you get a third, you get a third, you get a third. I don't think, and think is the key and operative word here, I don't think that pie is going to be shared in thirds.
I think so, though.
I think it's going to be...
Why not? Why?
Well, because you know what? The other guys are better. That's why.
This is what I think, though.
Todd Gurley is what he is right now.
This team next year, Sean, is going to be a run-heavy offense. So the more RBs, the better. Because you know the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. One of these RBs are going to go down, whether it's for a game, whether they get hurt in the game and they're out for the rest of the game, and then you have 2 studs to come in and not drop the ball, not to slow down the momentum, because you know we're not going to be throwing the ball all over the place.
All right, so let me use touches as an example. My ideal situation would be to get Williams 15 touches, Swift 15 touches, and if it's Todd Gurley, get him 5 touches a game. Why would I do that? because those other guys are better at this point. That's why. But to your point, Joique, I get it. I mean, he's a nice insurance policy if an injury happens, but I have to work under the assumption of all things are considered equal and these guys are healthy. I want, and I think everybody should want, DeAndre Swift to get 15 touches a game, Williams to get 15 touches a game, and then the other guy to get a few touches here or there. And that's, to me, that's, I don't know, that's the logic behind it. So how much of a difference is that? Well, you know what? I want him to be the best 5 carries that we can get. And if he's the best 5 carries of that smaller share, then go for it. If they think he's better than Jefferson, go for it. I mean, that's the point. I don't give a shit where you're drafted.
When you mention pies, it's interesting to me that when it comes to the Lions, we're looking at multiple players doing their part to move forward with the team. But it seems other NFL teams have that one star. So obviously, Gurley not being the star at all, he gave us a win, But is there any member of the Lions team that you could see exploding this year? Because you look at other franchises and other teams, they've got those people. We don't. We have this guy might do something. This guy might do something. But there's no Calvin Johnson. There's no big player that's he's going to be our impact player this year.
So you tell me this. How many times have you had an impact player to when we had a winning organizations and we had a run in the playoff? Tell me one time.
0.
All right, so why do we want to continue that same path?
To me, the most successful path is not having multiple people that might do something. It's having when we had Johnson, we knew Johnson was going to perform every single time. I can't think of a player to where it's that guy's going to be our lead.
All right, I'm going to be a jerk now. As great as Calvin Johnson was, what did the Lions win while Calvin Johnson was here?
And I get that.
All right,
but what I'm saying is he had potential to be the star. We don't have a star on the team right now.
Do you know what the problem is? This goes back to something that we've talked about a lot on the show. I hear from people every day that still can't get it through their head that this is a rebuild, that we are in the midst of a rebuild, that think that there's going to be a big shiny pot of gold at the end of their unicorn-laden rainbow at the end of this year. They don't have the personnel in place yet. There's work to be done. They laid the groundwork. They poured the concrete and they put up these beams in regards to the offensive line, and they're working on the defensive line, and there are a lot of pieces in place. But now, you know what happens? It's like when you're redoing your basement or whatever the case may be. It's like, okay, now I got to add the bar. Now I got to put that TV on the wall and things like that. We're not to that point yet. Dion said, Swift is maybe better than Todd Gurley, but not Williams, respectfully. I get what you're saying, tip of the cap. Can I give you an example of something? And I'm going to show my age here, but this is something that popped into my head reading that line. Do you guys remember, when was it, 2008, 2007? I don't remember. The Lions went out and got Rudy with an I Johnson from the Cincinnati Bengals. They got Rudy Johnson from the Bengals. And people were going, we got Rudy Johnson from the Bengals, who for a span of about 4 or 5 years, go look up his numbers, was one of the most consistent running backs in the National Football League. It was frightening how close his numbers were to each other, okay? Except here's the problem. They got him about 2 years too late. And Rudy Johnson lasted, a month here? And I'm not saying that Todd Gurley is at that point. Do not misconstrue. But you know what you hear? You hear the name Todd Gurley, and you know what you think about? You think about the guy that was a star a couple years ago. You don't think about the guy who the last couple of years looks like the wear and tear got to him a little bit. Much like the conversation that we have with Jared Goff, right? Shout out to D-Town. Well, everybody wants to talk about what he did. Everybody wants to talk about what he did in 2018, and in particular 2019. Now, I'm going to say it again. He had a great year, okay? Or 2017 and 2018. But you know what people don't want to talk about? They don't want to talk about what a mediocre quarterback he was the last couple of years. How he churned the ball over left and right. I mean, he's a turnover machine. So sometimes you hear a name, and I'm the same. You hear Todd Gurley, oh, dude was a stud, right?
He was.
He hasn't been that way for a couple of years. I'm not being a jerk. Go look up the numbers.
It's
real.
That's true. And then you have, and this is a different sport, but you have people who leave certain teams to go to different teams, and they kind of their careers reborn. You know, a new sense of youth. Blake Griffin. I mean, he got out that wheelchair and now. That's a big fan.
It's
right
a miracle.
There. That's a
Let's
big
be
fan.
honest. I think
Right.
we're going to be talking about after 3 days, Blake rose from the dead.
Well, who knew
he's
that
now
the,
a star again?
Who knew the air was so different in Brooklyn? I mean, the air just makes him perform so much better. It's
does.
insane.
There's something about
What are they
that.
doing in the Barclays Center? It's got to be just like magic dust that just swirls around to where all of a sudden he can dunk.
So, listen, please, I'm not comparing Rudy with an I. Johnson, who came here and was
Tiger.
absolutely done. I mean, absolutely, positively done. And people yelled at me, what are you talking about? You must not be paying attention to the National Football League. Look at these numbers. And I was like, boy, it's funny. You keep looking and bringing up these numbers, but you're not talking about what he did the last couple of years. So a guy starts to live by his name. But here's the reality, and Joique can tell you this. Joique can say it better than me. You only live by your name for so long. The National Football League is a what have you done for me lately league. Period. End of story. It's big with the fans, and it resonates with the fans. Hey, we went and got Todd Gurley. Ooh! But then the rest of the National Football League is going, yeah, that's cool. I remember he was really good a couple of years ago.
Oof.
That's the way it is. And it's like, you know, and again, I know, Baligian, you're a hater. I know. And you hate facts. Here we are. Like, what do you want me to say? Yeah, I know that sometimes people, you want me to sing shiny, happy people and sing Kumbaya, and we're all going to hold hands and celebrate playoff victories, and Todd Gurley's going to score 17 touchdowns. What he's done the last couple of years, man, his body's been beaten up.
Yeah, he'll be better. So he had a visit with the Ravens. I think he'll be better off going there to come here.
I think might be a better opportunity for him there, too, because when you look at the Ravens backfield, I mean, there's J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And,
Right.
Right?
Right. It'll be a better opportunity for him there. It's just my thought. And right now, he's at the tail end. You want to go to a team that can win now. That's a team that's right now that can win now. So.